Okay, so today we are working on the Camaro. So I've been having a problem with this thing, ongoing problem, not just recent, but she's been burning up relays. I've already pulled the relay out, but it's been burning up relays and wiring to my fan control unit. And to the point where I was driving home and the fans weren't coming on, and it was 85 degrees out or something like that, 31 degrees Celsius, whatever that works out to. And on the highway it's not bad, but in the city she was getting pretty hot. She got up to about 220 by the time I got it parked. Didn't pop anything, like everything was tight, so it wasn't leaking or anything, but it's hotter than obviously you want to be running these things. So what I wound up doing was I wired this in direct to ignition. So now I turn the ignition on, fans come on. So they're always on, which at this point, and no relay at this point. I got to wire in a relay. I just haven't had a chance to do that. So right now it's just, but it is fused, and I got this Scotch connector here. I don't know what the hell that's for, to be honest with you. It's going back in probably to a hot wire somewhere. But since doing that, I have an electrical draw. And the way I know that is not by looking at this thing. I don't even know where I got this set up right, but I'm pretty sure I got that on amps, milliamps. I got, if we do this, sorry for the shitty camera work here. I got 0 coming up. So I don't know whether I got this right. But what I do have, and the way I know that I have a draw, is you can hear that buzzer. That's key off, ignition off, key out. If I turn the ignition on, it goes away. And you can hear the fan. So there. Now, I don't know what, but what I'm going to do is I have to obviously fix that. But in the meantime, I've had this master shutoff here. I installed that, I don't know how many years ago, but I've never hooked it up. Now, let's grab a flashlight here. Well, you can see there you are. So all it is two terminals, 2 connections there, and it's done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this the lazy man's way, which is I'm going to hook this up, and that means I have to turn that off every time I park the car. I will find that draw, what's keeping that buzzer on. I've got a whole bunch of fuses here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the driver's seat out so I can crawl in there somewhat comfortably, and then it's a matter of laying out and pulling fuses and see when it stops, and then when it stops, find out what circuit that is, and then deal with it. But now the project here is going to be the master shutoff. So what I've got here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this cable, which is grounded to the frame, and behind here somewhere, right there. I don't know if you can see that or not, but I'm going to take that, I'm going to unhook it there, I'm going to mount it to here. Then I've got this cable, okay, and then I've got this heavy cable, which is probably a little overkill, but it's already terminated. It's got the I don't need all this, obviously, but it's terminated on one side, so I might just wind up using this one. This is heavy. This is 2-watt cable. This is just a standard battery, so we'll see. I got termination on one here. This would probably be the easiest one to use. This one, the big one here, the heavy one, is a little overkill, but I'm going to use that. I went and bought this stuff off of Amazon because I thought I needed it. Then, as I'm searching through this is a mess, but I did clean up that corner. As I'm searching through all my stuff, trying to find something else, I came across these 2 cables. And I thought, okay, great. But I do have somewhere in this pile, here we are, cable lens, and I'm pretty sure I've got a whole bunch of electrical stuff here and cable lens in my electrical boxes here. So that's what's the project is, and once I get that done, this shouldn't take too long, but once I get that done, it's going on a search. So let's get this cable off here, and then we'll play it out. I'll hook it up and get that done. So just give me a couple minutes to get set up here. Okay, I figured this out. Put the red cable, positive on here, black on here, negative, positive, and what we'll do here is need 3 hands, but we'll figure it out with 2. So you can see that moving around way here. So I got like 3 amp draw, 315, like it's over 300 milliamp draw. I'm pretty sure that's milliamps. So there is something going on here. And that's enough. I mean, let's just turn it to amps here and see what it does. Okay, it doesn't read that. Okay, so there's definitely something going on there. So, yeah, gotta fix it. But we're gonna do the cables first. So hang tight. We'll get that cable moved around. Okay. So let's get a socket on this thing. Push that through. Okay, looks like the grommet is a little too tight for, there we go. And we push the grommet through. Okay, that's what we're gonna have to do. So let's grab a little bit of a screwdriver here. just need to, where's that? There it is. Just need to push this in. There we go. Okay, so that's done. So now we'll get this hooked up on the one side here, and then we'll build the other cable up. Okay, we'll get the terminal off on the one side here, and the nut off on the one side. Take these, get this off. So this grommet here, this is actually a glad hand rubber off a semi. Okay, so these are used where where airlines pass, or not, sorry, these are where your glad hands, this is where the air passes from the truck to the trailer. You got a thing called the glad hand that connects to the truck side. These are the rubbers that seal that up to keep the air from leaking. These are great to use for pass-throughs on firewalls, this type of a purpose. They're very, they're cheap. I mean, you go to a truck supply store or a truck dealer and you pick these up for, you know, less than $1 each. So good thing to have in your arsenal of things that you think you'll never use, because you'll use that. So let's get this here bolted on. Okay, luckily it's the right size. And then we'll do this. And okay, tighten this up. Okay, so this is wanting to move around. I'm gonna have to tighten up the nut on this side here, just to squeeze a little tighter. This nut here, but you know, normal use there. It's not going to do anything. Not going anywhere. Okay, so we got the one side done. Now we got to build the other cable. Now, obviously this cable is too long, but I'm going to cut it and we'll terminate it, and then we'll hook it up. So, more excitement to follow. All right, so let's see what I got in my tickle chest here. So, you can see I got a pretty good supply of stuff. This kind of wiring, this is trailer, 3-wire trailer wiring. So that's just basically brakes and signals. And running lights is also very handy. Few fusible connectors there. Okay, here we are. This should do the trick. Okay, so now we got to take that one cable and cut it. This is a filter from my Pontiac that we will be cutting open. I don't know how many miles are on that thing. I don't think there's that many. I can't remember whether I changed the oil in the fall or not, but I changed it this spring, so it's all it's gonna get. We'll cut it open, see what's up in there. Okay. So now, okay, even found this with connector on it, or a loom thing, strap, rubber, wrapped in loom. I must have used this for something. Even got a little secondary thing out of the ground wire, but it's it's a screw type battery post. So I'm gonna cut it. We're gonna cut it right around here. I gotta find my get my wire snips here. Okay, let's go with these. Get that camera. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to leave a little bit of room here just in case I need it. And I mean, let's just double check here because I don't want to cut it too short and then I'm wasting a whole bunch of time here and potentially money. So measure once, cut twice. So that's got lots of room there. That's got lots of room on the frame. You can see there. And then I got lots of room here. So this is, I'm just going to cut it minimal. And I'm just going to leave some in case I need this for something else. Which I'll probably forget that I have and then go and buy something that obviously, again, that I don't need. But let's do this here. We'll cut it here. So, there we go. Now we're just going to squeeze that in the vise here to round it. Okay, now there's an excellent spare part to have. This is obviously too thick to strip with just wire cutters, or wire strippers here, but I do have this handy Letterman kind of deal. We'll see how that works. There. So don't need much. But I am going to put shrink wrap on this when it's done. And I'm going to shrink wrap this side as well. So we're going to shrink wrap both. Hopefully I got a torch. I do have a torch. If I don't have the torch, or if I'm out of benzene in there, then I'm not going to, but I'm going to put the shrink wrap on here and I'll just heat it up at a later date. And this is very good time, good opportunity to cut your fingers open, your thumb at least. So I'm going to try not to do that because if you look at my videos, I do play the guitar and I need that thumb for holding the pick. So there we go, success. There's two ways to do this, and unfortunately I don't think I have any solder here. One is you fill this up with solder, set it in there, fill it up with solder, heat it up so the solder's liquid, and then you just dip it in and it'll harden and you're done. Okay, you don't want to heat it up while with this in like that and drop it in. Heat it up in here, set that in, and then you're good to go. Now I'm just gonna check here. I've got my torch. It seems like there's a little bit in there. Okay, so that's good. We can use that. If I had solder here, I would do it, but I don't. So I'm not gonna. I've got, what have I got here? Here we go. Got a whole bunch of shrink wrap. So let's see what we need here. you never know when you need this stuff. So whenever I go anywhere, I when they have them on sale or whatever, I buy these little kits. I've got several. And most of the time I forget I have them. So that's why I have a lot of them, because I keep tying them. So anyhow, let's shrink wrap this side. Shrink tube or whatever you want to call it. Just looks a little bit better, it's cleaner, and then you get less chance of water getting in there and corroding and causing a bad connection there. So this is all you got to do. Hopefully you can see that. You don't want to get it too hot, just hot enough so that it shrinks on there on both sides there, on the wire and on the end. There we go. Good deal. All right, so that's done. This one here, so I'm going to cut this because they come in lengths like that. So I'm just going to cut that in half because that's all I'm going to need. Slide that on. Now, there's two ways we can do this. Well, one is the one way. This is another way, the other way. So I'm just going to squeeze this in the vise here to get it crimped. Okay, so that's good and tight. It's a little messy looking, but it's good and tight. And with the, well, okay, so let's see here. All right, so this one's, I crimped this. Obviously it's flattened out. This is too small to fit over. So I'm going to cut that off. And we're going to take this. I'm just going to use the whole thing here, because it's kind of, hopefully that shows up there. Nice tight seal, and we'll just slowly warm that up as we go. If you go too much, it'll start to burn up, especially on the edges there, so you don't want to go too hot. You can use a heat gun on this too if you have one. I don't, but there. Professionally terminated cable end. Well, sorry, that's a professionally terminated cable end. This is a hacked terminated cable end, but it'll do the trick. One of the problems with having 3 garages is you don't always have the tool you need in each one. I have most of them until I realize, okay, I need to get the torch out here and I need to get some solder, but this is going to work. This will work fine. So all right, we'll head over to the car here and get this thing mounted. I got to get the glad hand. Okay, we'll find all that stuff and we'll get this here mounted and hopefully it works. Okay, we're going to put the glad hand in. That's the hole that's going in there. Okay, now one easy thing to do is use glass cleaner. You liberally soak it, because that works as a lubricant. Trust me, I'm soaking it, you can see there. And then just a little bit tight, but okay, we'll get the wire, get the cable in, and then I'll finish. There we go. Okay, and I'll get that in there. There we go. Look at that. Professional. Or, you know, somewhat professional. I don't know if you can see that or not. There we are. Where is it? There. So that's going through. This is going to get bolted onto here. So we'll do that next. Some light there so we can kind of see what we're doing. And get this off. Perfect. I'll get so real basic stuff, but flat washer, lock washer, and then I'd always put the lock washer on the flat washer or whatever surface it is. But if you're using a flat washer, you go flat washer, lock washer. Okay. Hi. Okay. There we go. Kind of see it there. Okay. Now. That up. Okay, I need an actual deep socket here, so let's get a deep socket. There. Stud's a little deeper than the other one. Okay, so that's good. Now we will hook the battery up here. Okay, I can hear that hum going already. And we'll hook this up. This cable is a little long, this one here, but that doesn't matter. You don't want to be cutting up stuff you don't have to or not necessary. So that was a 9/16 on the master shut-off. Battery head studs are 1/2 inch. So we will tighten this up. And then we will snug that. Okay, I can hear the humming already, so I know we've got connection. Ah, can't believe it. Still have the hum. Okay. Don't know what to do now. I think I gotta go search, see what's causing it then, because obviously it's a short to power, I guess, not ground. But, okay, so wait a minute. Let's think about this. If I unhook the battery, I'm unhooking the battery. Okay, it's never that hard to get. There we go. Okay, so now it's off. I got no power. Okay, so that to me says I possibly have a bad master shutoff. I just happen to have one here. Another one. So got that. I'm gonna try that. Now, that sounds better. This one sounds a little weak. So chances are I might have a bad end there, master shutoff. So we'll get this thing off. It's pretty straightforward, and we'll swap that out. So I'll mount it up and see whether it works out here, and then put it through there if need be. So I need a screwdriver. Oh. Okay, always check your work. I didn't hook up the chassis ground. I just walked by here and there it is hanging. So let's see where that goes. Now, where did I put the? Okay, I got to find the bolt, and then what I use. It was on there. There it is. It's a factory style bolt, and look at that hooked up. So right now that switch is acting as a ground on the battery. That's why it's on, even though it's not grounded out here. This is acting as a ground to the battery. So when we get the frame hooked up, then it takes the ground from here and moves it down here, at least down to the frame. At least that's what I'm hoping. So let's get a good view there. So let's put that on. This is pretty clean. Actually, I'm going to just clean that up a little bit. Got some emery cloth here. Not emery cloth, Scotch-Brite. Okay, that should be all right. It's not great, but it worked before. It should work now. What I'm going to do is tie strap it up here so it doesn't come down onto the tire, because it's lower. I can push it up. Just keep hanging here what I need. That's a 1/2 inch, so we'll get a 1/2 inch here. snug this up. A bit of ways to go there. You know what? I got a special tool for this. Here's a special tool. There. It's still loose. I have a feeling. There, it's getting tighter. Oh. I have a feeling this thing might be stripped out. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to wind up doing here is see if I can find a bigger bolt. If not, I'm going to have to drill a new hole. And or I can tap that, put a 3/8. So we'll see what we can come up with here. So yeah, it's always fun. Always something thrown at you. But yeah, we'll go ahead and do that, fix that up, and then get back here. So yeah, catch up in a bit. All right, I have to take this wheel off to get access in there. I found a lug bolt, lag nut, but that's a wood nut. That would work if it was for steel, but that'll just strip out because there is like a weld nut on the inside there. So let's get to work here. Where did I put the? There it is. We'll get this wheel off, and then I can get in there with a wrench. I'm going to tap it, 3/8 tap, and then I'll put a 3/8 bolt in there, which is always better than a there goes my garage door. Better than a self-tapper. Out of the way. Socket. That. Get that out of the way. I got a wheel spacer because the offset on that hits the shock mount here. Let's have a look at the brakes in here. So other than normal dirt, they look good. They're a little, could be adjusted up a little bit maybe. All right, camera keeps shutting down on me, and I can lose battery on here. GoPros are good, but battery life on these things suck. So now I got to go in here so I can get, or it's over here. Hopefully I can get a tap in there. The only issue is with this. It's a little tight when I'm hitting the gas tank, so I might just use a one of these, like an adjustable wrench or a little one, to get it in. Okay, so in the interest of saving battery life here, we'll catch up here in a little bit, and hopefully I get this thing bolted up and everything works. So hang tight. All right, so right now I am using the wrench, adjustable here, monkey wrench, and it is cutting in. So we're going to go with that. The hole's a little tight, but it's cutting in nice. Normally I would put some lube in here, but I'm just gonna anyhow, a little bit at a time. When you're tapping, you want to give it, and then once you get it working, once it's bit and it's in, then you can work it back, and then you go like this and do a little bit more, and that way it gets whatever shavings out of the threads and keeps everything clean. So, but yeah, there's some stuff that's falling there now. And then that just keeps the threads clean. They don't get bunged up with shavings. Okay, so again, in the interest of battery life, I'm going to shut this off. And we'll catch up when I get her done. Tapping's done. I'm just going to go in here and clean this up a little bit better. Once the wheel's off, it's pretty easy. Once the wheel's off here, it's pretty easy to get at. There. Okay, now we got a 3/8 bolt and go to town here. All right, sorry about the weight. 3/8 bolt. So flat washer, lock washer, like that. And make sure I've got my okay. I'll put this on here. There we go. Okay, so that does work because I can hear it. It's off. This is my ground for the fuel pump relay. That's here. When that's on, it stays on. So I'm going to ground this to the master switch there, and at least all that'll shut off. Then I got to figure out why that is coming on with that. So I've got power somewhere where I don't know if it's because I don't have a relay in there. I don't think that would be the reason, but I got to figure that out. So in the meantime, at least I can shut everything off with the switch. So we'll go with that. I'm running out of power here. We'll catch up once I get this battery charged up and get this thing finished, and we'll see whether we got success or not, at least with the master switch. I just got to make a new wire up because that one's too short. So stay tuned. Okay, some success. So initially, I put the ground cable that was here for the fuel pump. I hooked it up to the that side of the pole, the switch, and on or off, it didn't do anything. So I switched it over to this side, and now it's on or it's off. When it's on, fuel pump works. So something's going on with that circuit on the fuel pump. It's not the relay because I tried a different relay. So I gotta crawl under the dash there and see what the hell I did. I mean, I wired this thing up years ago, and it's almost like going in and trying to find out what somebody else did. And I know that when I did wire it up, I mean, it's always, it works. I'm going to do it properly, and you never, you kind of hack it in there, get it working, and it's okay. But you don't, not a final complete job. Not that it's dangerous or that it's subpar is what it is. So I'm probably going to find some junk in there. Given that I did this back in 2008, and this is the first time I've ever had an electrical problem with this car. But for some reason, when I disconnected the relay for the fans and wired it direct to the ignition switch, which was that switch, that wire was already switched to the relay. So now it's just bypassed the relay through a fuse and straight in. Whereas before it would have gone into the temperature control, then into the fuse, and then into the fan. But when I did that, put it direct, I've got this issue. I don't know what it is. But anyhow, I can drive it. It's not an issue. It's just a matter of, I got to turn that switch off, on and off, whenever I'm not using it or going to use it. Right now it's off. On. Just got to remember to do that. There is a draw. Tested that. So that's a project for another day. In the meantime, I have to go to an art opening. Oh joy. So we'll catch up here once I get underneath that dash there and see what's going on. Thanks for watching, and hit that subscribe button, and hopefully we'll see you again. Give you a better update or a new update. In the meantime, look at that engine. I mean, you can't get an LS to look like that. That's just classic. And that's why I stick with the traditional small block. Thanks for watching.